Orioles versus Cubs, kind of just how are we feeling? The boys are back in town. If someone could give me, I know Burns is starting game 2. Do we have?
Yeah, I'll pull them up quickly.
Kramer, Burns, Suarez.
Kramer, Burns, and
which
Suarez.
there was controversy on that, by the way. But Cubs have 3 TBDs. We don't know.
Yeah, I knew Cubs were all TBD.
But it's Kramer, Burns, and Suarez. Yes.
This is like the ESPN probables for the Cubs right now. It's Imanaga, it's Tyone, and it's Steele. Those are the projected.
Those are the aces too.
Everything we just said could be subject to change, and then we just shoot myself in the foot. But that's what they got right now up on ESPN.
Yeah, so let's talk about a little bit. The Chicago Cubs are coming in 5-5 in the last 10 games. This is a team that over the next month or so is going to decide whether or not they are selling. It feels like, though, every time you bring up any NL team, that's the situation they're in. But this is definitely one of those games where it almost reminds me of, and I know people aren't going to like this, it reminds me a little bit of the Astros series. Like, yes, things are going really well for the Orioles, but this Cubs team is desperate to try to save their season. So do not be surprised if this Cubs team comes in here with their hair on fire, thinking if we don't turn this around in the next, before the All-Star break, let's just call it is, before Sunday, All-Star break happens, boom, All-Star break is over, you have 10 days before the trade deadline. And the All-Star break is in what, 4 days, 5 days now, 6 days?
Wow. Yeah.
So the trade deadline is coming faster than people think, and especially when you take out a whole week of games, the Cubs are going to want to put a statement, if anything, to their own team, to their own organization that, hey, do not sell these guys. Do not get rid of Steele. Do not get rid of Bellinger. Do not go out and give away our top guys because we want to go and compete. So any kind of just original thoughts in here before this series, maybe things you want to see?
Yeah, the Cubs are a team that their offense has generally struggled this season for the most part.
Yes.
They're bottom 10 in the league in a lot of categories. Now, they do walk a lot. They're 4th in the league in walks, so they're on base. Their average is not very good. They don't hit a lot of homers, but their on-base percentage actually is pumped up by the fact that they walk a lot. And the Orioles, they don't necessarily walk a ton of guys. I mean, we know some games they do, but based off of league, they don't. They're let me do the stat quickly. The Orioles, I would love to see. I screwed it up. Hold on. Here we go. They're 9th. Tied for 9th in the league in walks. So to me, I think this is just don't let the Cubs on base. I would really like to see them hit with runners in scoring position. I think that would cause a lot of people to maybe have a little more confidence, and myself included in that, because we are now in a trend with this Orioles ball club where they load the bases. And actually that stat that I think I sent it in the Discord. Silence.
Real quick, speaking of runners in scoring position right now, the Chicago Cubs have the 9th best pitching with runners in scoring position, average-wise, that is, average-wise. So, yeah, this is going to be another tough test. We've screamed it, Kevin, from the mountaintops. It feels like we just want consistency. We're not asking for 10 runs every game. We just, when the opportunity is there to get guys in with less than 2 outs and a guy on third, we should be getting him in almost every time, and that's the tough part. It feels like there's a lot of hero ball, a lot of guys going for the 2-run shot where just a lazy fly ball gets that run in. So
yeah, I'm trying to present my. I have the graphic. It's bases loaded less than 2 outs.
Yep,
is the graphic here. I think here we go. Can you see it?
Yep, that's exactly.
Okay.
Yep, I was going to bring that up the other day.
Yep.
Perfect.
So Brooks Gate, shout out. How many times each team has had the bases loaded in less than 2 outs, and how many of those didn't score a run? So obviously we can see here the Orioles did not score, way at the bottom down here, on 59.3% of their opportunities with bases loaded less than 2 outs. They've had that 27 times over the course of the season. and they did not score on 16. Obviously, you do some quick maths there, and that means the Orioles have only scored 11 out of 27 times. I was a little scared to do that math. 11 out of 27 times the Orioles have scored there. They only are trailed by the Athletics. So that's not a good number, especially for a team that has such a high-powered offense. It just that can't happen as consistently as it does for this team. So.
Yeah, I agree. And real quick, wanted to bring up this comment by Steven saying series is kind of big for them. Their local reporters have been talking about their selling, especially this far back. Yeah, so right now the Cubs are in last place. They are 11 games back in the Central, the NL Central. But it is one of those things where the NL is so close at the bottom. It's so close at the bottom where teams, and it's what, Kevin, we've talked about it, it's the scary part for a team like the Orioles, where is there too much false confidence if a team like the Cubs suddenly runs the table and wins 8 of their next 10, gets hot a little bit, gets it to win within, before the trade deadline, they're sitting maybe 5 games out of the wild card, 4 games out of the wild card. And then they're like, oh no, we can go make this. We can make a run for this. And then they don't sell. So yeah, I agree, Steven. It is a big series for the Cubs, especially their players that don't want them to sell. Rocco, you got anything that you want to bring up?
Yeah, I'm very, pretty pumped up for that first matchup because you have a guy in Shota Imanaga who was, his ERA was at the top of the MLB for a while, and I think it got as low as 0.78. So he was just shoving, start in, start out. But lately he's proven he's human, which is crazy to say because at the beginning of the season, this was not a human being. This guy was pitching like he was from a different planet, how good he was, how like the stuff he was throwing, it was just unhittable. Now that ERA is up to 3.16, which isn't terrible by any means. But for the Orioles, you want to give Shota Imanaga one of his worst games, not one of his best. Don't let him come to you and attack you. You got to attack him with the bats, and you got to make the most of the opportunities against him. Because if you let him have his game and go 1-2-3, 1-2-3, 1-2-3, he's going to hurt you. And you're going to have to rely on, like we've seen the Orioles do before, try to rely on runs late in games if the Cubs offense is able to produce in game 1.
Yeah, I think this first game is an Imanaga. Talk about a guy who...
Unreal.
To start this year, everyone was talking about Yamamoto, and rightfully so. Obviously, he's dealing with some injury right now. But Imanaga he was looking like he was going to be a top Cy Young contender. He showed up into the U.S. and said, no, I am a legit top pitcher in this league.
30 years old, by the way.
Yeah.
When he's making his MLB debut.
He is probably going to win he potentially could win Rookie of the Year at 30 years old, which will be just an incredible feat for him. I'm interested to see. Let's go, not too big of predictions, but what do you see happening? I'm going to say the Orioles take 2 of 3.
I would agree with that. I think that's the easy answer right there.
Yeah, I kind of feel like a cop-out, but I just don't see the Orioles sweeping a team that's this desperate. They're going to try. The Cubs will, if they get a lead, they'll go all out to try to win this game. Kevin?
I'm going sweep. I'm doing it.
Fire me up, Kevin.
We're bringing the energy. I'm going sweep. Let's go.
Kevin, that would be huge considering that the upcoming series afterwards with the Yankees is the biggest series of the first half of the season.
Yeah.
Those 3 games, they're not going to make or break the division, but it's sure going to feel like it with the fan bases going back and forth. You might have some carryover from that last series. You never know. Like I said, the Orioles are a clean team. They're not a team to throw at anyone. But you saw some fireworks in that series in the Bronx. And maybe we could see some more fireworks at Camden Yards. I like the chippiness. I do. Yeah. I love when teams don't like each other. It makes baseball more fun. It's not always the happy-go-lucky. When you're competing with that team for the pennant, when you're competing with that team for the division, and they have been king for so long, if you think about what the Yankees have done in the World Series titles they've won, and the Orioles are like, you know what, guys? We're here now. This is our time. And they're showing it. And I think they're going to show it in this series as well. But first, they got to take care of business with the Cubs. do what they do against the Yankees and then head into the All-Star break on a high note. That would be great. And I think fan base, franchise, everybody would feel like they're in a good position going forward if that's the case, rather than having a sour taste in your mouth, just waiting to play baseball again.
Yeah, and I'm going to disagree with you slightly on that one part. I think the series versus Yankees can make or break New York. I don't think it makes or breaks the Orioles season. I think it 100% could break New York's, because let's look at right now. As we stand at this moment, the Orioles are 3 games up and the Yankees are spiraling. Let's just call it what it is. 5 wins in their last 20 games. I think they've only won 6 of their last 23. This team is not playing good ball. And if you go into the All-Star break, let's even say they enter that game, the series at still 3. Let's say there's no movement at 3. And then the Orioles go and sweep them. Now, that's asking a lot of the Orioles to go sweep a very, very good New York Yankees team. But let's say that. It's hard for me with the way the Yankees are playing. If they're down 6 at the All-Star break, for them to mentally not start panicking and not be like, we have to go make moves. So, yes, is it going to decide the division? No. But I could very well see it really starting to worry and almost break that organization right now that feels like they need something positive. It feels like this is a big opportunity for the Orioles. If they want to take advantage of this, go and step on their throats. I'll just call it what it is. Go step on their throats.